Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Woo! You now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boyd, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the rest of the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the bits. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. Thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
What's good? It's Wale, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Welcome to the November 26th edition of One Nation Live. James, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Just ready to review Survivor Series. I don't think we've talked about our thoughts about the overall card, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I was on with Chad Matthews on the Doc Says with Dave Fenner show. And
oh yes, I did hear that.
Yes,
and you know what's funny? There was a point where apparently y'all were talking over the you had the camera on, and he mentioned how the matches that the match he typically didn't like with Charlotte was what happened with Nikki Bella, where Nikki Bella worked over her leg over and over and over and over throughout the match or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he said apparently disagreeing with it, and because it was the same thing I made, and sure enough you stopped it, and apparently the same thing I was thinking. It's the same damn match. It's ribs instead of a leg. So I was, typically, like probably like 95% of the time, maybe even as low as 90% of the time, I agree with Chad on situations, but that one I was kind of like, you didn't realize that's the same exact reason why we didn't like that match too?
Yeah, it was and the botches. Yeah, lots of botches. It was a it was a match that people were waiting on, and we saw it. But we should just go over from the top. James, what did you think of this main event of Survivor Series? I haven't even asked you since then what you thought about it, but I know I thought it was absolutely dreadful, but maybe you can shed some light for me.
I'm still not as down on it as you were. I thought that things went off the rails once Triple H went out with whatever happened with him with Nakamura, and that back record deal with his knee. And you could tell there were like spots where they were trying to fill, where, for example, like when Cena got in the ring with Angle, you're kind of just like, this is kind of weird. It's not like as crisp as normal WWE matches laid out. Like it seems like they're stalling or something, trying to figure out something. So
right,
I could definitely see the match going to hell after someone gets injured, because it tends to be how it is, because people don't really do so much calling in the ring as much as they did back in the day, when everyone thought, or more people thought it was real, so they can get away with that kind of thing. But the end of the match is still the end of the match, and it's still really bad. So like that puts a huge damper on what otherwise would have been considered a really solid card, a consistent card up to that point.
Yeah, man, because it was one of those things that makes you rethink everything you just saw, and
yeah.
I was just so taken aback from it, because it was like, wow, they got rid of Nakamura and Rude like immediately, and I think we sat on the show and said, and tried to rank who would be as important to these things, but when it came down to John Cena, Randy Orton, and Shane McMahon on one side, I just checked out. I was just like, I can't believe they're doing this. And then for Shane McMahon to be the last man standing for his team and to valiantly fight off Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn like a hero. What year is this?
Yeah, it makes to me, like, the thing makes no sense from a bunch of perspectives, right? So, like, you can afford to beat Nakamura, seeing that he's already had his title matches, he's lost, and you can, set him off on a course to, build him back up later over the next few months, as opposed to 10 weeks of TV, and then you think you can't get him over because you just squashed him with Kane. But But
we'll get to that later.
Just my God. But I can at least understand that you beat him with Braun Strowman, and Strowman is the person that you're trying to build. And I think when you told me to call into your Instant Reaction podcast with Jeremy and Josh, I think I said to you, this thing was a failure overall. But if the whole thing in your eyes was we need to get Braun Strowman hot again, or hotter than he was before, and we need to set up Triple H versus Angle. 15, 17 years too late, then okay, mission accomplished. Like, I wish you would have done more for the other guys that are sitting there looking like schmucks and like poor Cena, but it is what it is. Like, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think the situation was that Cena was really set for the Jinder Brock match as the guest referee, and then they scrapped it, so Cena was like, all right, well, I still have a date available, I'll do something, I'll take a couple bumps, but I'm not finna really wrestle. You think that's what it was?
I don't think Cena gets into the mindset, like, I'm not about to do nothing. Like, he's like, I'll do what y'all want me to do.
But but if you're gonna bring in John Cena, why are you asking him to do so little?
Because they don't...
No promo... Go ahead.
Because they don't, like, recognize the thing I heard most commonly was, oh yeah, John Cena's being added for star power. Like, they think they're blinded by this star power stuff that they don't think they actually have to do anything with these dudes. Like, once they're in the match, it's like, well, what's that star power going to do for you if you're not going to do shit?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, okay, if you all are blinded by the star power thing of John Cena, cool, do something with him. Don't have him go out there and not do shit on a main event of a card, and then, like, there's no storyline for him when he comes back. He just shows back up whenever he wants to, and then, like, there's no consequence. There's no him getting knocked out and taken off TV or knocked off of TV for a long time with some killer move that would have added to the match and the stakes of the match. It was like nothing. He just had a match, came in there, wrestled Angle, helped suplex Braun Strowman through a announce table, and then, got beat up by Angle and Finn, or Triple H and Finn, and then pinned, and then, like, goodbye, later, holla, I got a new t-shirt.
Yeah, he literally showed up to start selling merch. Hey, can't not to hustle, but, I mean, I think I need a little bit more in my wrestling. But, yeah, I thought the match was an absolute train wreck. It was atrocious. It was everything wrong with WWE as far as, like, putting the past over the present. And, folks are like, oh, this put over Braun Strowman really strong. No, it didn't. Braun Strowman didn't factor into the finish of the match at all. He was just standing there kind of looking at, like, what the hell is going on? And Braun Strowman was us all. We were all sharing the same look that Braun Strowman had at the end of that match. And it was just like, wow. He fights the dude after the match. Cool. Who cares? Because I don't.
Yeah, it was almost it was just really weird. The whole time I'm sitting there watching, I'm thinking, okay, so, like, once Triple H eliminated Angle, or hit him with the Angle, screwed over Angle, hit him with the pedigree, put Shane over the top of him for the pin, I thought, and then he helped Shane up, I thought to myself, maybe Triple H is making a play for, like, to run against Stephanie, like it's Shane and Triple H versus Stephanie for some weird reason. I don't know, because, like, it would make sense. It would, listen, this would make sense and this before, like, they actually went ahead and said, nah, never mind, fuck that. But it would have made sense in theory for Shane, who was a babyface, to all of a sudden start attacking Raw wrestlers with SmackDown wrestlers during the Under Siege deal. And then it was Shane, so people were figuring out, like, that's not something that, babyface Shane would do. And then all of a sudden at the end, it's Triple H and Shane, basically made some deal to be part of SmackDown. They get rid of Daniel Bryan or whatever, and then Bryan ends up on Raw or something. Like, that could have made some sense or whatever. And then, it's Stephanie and whatever versus brother and husband. Like, that could have made some sense. Like he was making some type of, like, move, but then at the end, where Shane trusts him, and then he eats a pedigree. I'm thinking, you fucking idiot. This is stupid. This makes no sense. He deceived this dude just to beat him up, even though it's Shane McMahon or Triple H. Just kick him in the gut and beat him.
Bro, he was a heel and he turned on him to go heel again. I don't understand. What are you doing, Triple H? We know we can't trust Triple H. He's literally turned on everybody.
He don't like his heat in singles. He likes it in doubles and triples. So
right.
Apparently that's how it works. Because he screwed over. He's actually in quadruples. He likes his heat in quadruples. Where he came in as a heel. That's one. He screwed over
everyone.
Angle. No, he screwed over Angle. That's double. He screwed over Shane. That's double or that's triple. And then he attacked after he's gonna die. He literally saw that he's finna go meet his maker, and Strowman lets him go. He goes and attacks Strowman. That's quadruple right there.
Yes. What are you doing, guy? Yeah, man. Triple H is just the confusion continues to try to shoehorn Triple H into stuff every year. So I don't know. Let's get into some of these comments.
Hold on. And the best part at the end of the day, what Triple H is gonna say at the end of the day?
What?
I put over the young guy. It only, but in the meantime, for putting over the young guy, he killed Shane. He killed Angle as well, and he killed Jason Jordan.
Yes.
To put over one guy, kill 3 to put 1 over.
Man, they working in the negative out here. You think Jason Jordan gonna get his heat back? Nope.
That man ain't gonna get a match with Triple H. Watch.
Right. Sergio says, that match pissed me off. It should have been a great match to build up the new guys, but they made it about Vince's guys. He also says, it's hard to buy the star power reasoning for Cena. He's not as over as a face as The Rock or Stone Cold, and he wasn't gone long enough to make us miss him.
That's true. Another part about it is, wasn't right after the September pay-per-view, he's trying to sell us kind of like the SummerSlam 2012 Triple H. How they trying to fake they retired.
Fake retirement.
Yeah, bro, you ain't retired. Kiss my ass. Because another thing about it is Triple H. This ain't the first time Cena has teased some type of retirement thing. Remember when he lost to
when he beat Brock Lesnar.
No, remember when he lost to Styles at the last SummerSlam or SummerSlam last year?
Yeah, he left to join in the ring.
Yeah.
Cena, we seen your movies, bro. We
just leave and pretend.
We're on to you, Cena. Come on, man. Come on.
It's bad. It's bad. So think about it like this, right? You sell like you're contemplating retirement, and then you come back for a nothing match, and then there's no storyline out of it. You just go away again and you gonna come back for who knows when.
New shit. What did you make of the Brock and AJ match? Let's move on. Brock and AJ faced off. Thought these guys went out there and definitely worked hard. But what did you think about that one?
I thought it was a great match, and I thought it could have been a match of the year contender had Brock Lesnar not been so gassed that he fucked up virtually every other move in the middle of the match. Once you got to about the time when AJ started making his comeback, it actually became a real match instead of the Suplex City shit. Brock started getting tired, and then he started fucking up every other move. That Tornado DDT, he fucked that up. He tried to catch AJ, and both of them almost went flipped over the top rope. Luckily, they were able to gather up on that top rope and then continue the move. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. I thought they did a really good job of playing the fact that playing people's expectations, that people thought that this could have been a Suplex City burial, and people started actually booing towards the end of the
middle part,
beginning section of it, and then they turned it around, and then they actually had their match, and then you start thinking even though good and damn well he's not going to beat Brock Lesnar, you think, oh my God, he might actually beat Brock Lesnar. So I thought they did a great job of on that part. And me and you talk about this. Brock and Oscar are both on the same terms that they are such ass kickers and world beaters and killers that once they start selling, their matches are so incredible because you can't believe that they're ever in pain because they're so awesome, right? So like Brock is the king of that. Like when Brock was out there selling like in the lead up to WrestleMania 30, he was selling those huge choke slams over through the table to Undertaker.
Yes.
It looked so great. Like
remember when Big Show threw him around?
Yeah, when he threw around, that was great as well. Like when another example is the CM Punk match where he has the broken ribs or whatever. Like it was great. It was great. Like he's just when he wants to try, he's literally one of the best wrestlers in the world. It just he just doesn't want to try all the time, and that's what the frustrating part about him is. Like certain guys, they won't be able to slide for that sort of thing, but people just love them some Brock Lesnar. And when Brock Lesnar's on, like, it's hard not to love that dude.
Yeah. He's got, like, I think AJ Styles looked better against him than anyone else has this year. And that includes Samoa Joe. That includes Braun Strowman. There was serious drama in this match, and it felt like Styles got the people to believe, which I don't know how strong folks believed before. It may have been like a situation where, man, Joe's so hot, I think we need Joe to win. But when that bell rings, it always changes. It's like, they got us again. They made us think Lesnar was going to lose again. But I felt like this one was different. This was like where Lesnar and Styles, they had the match that we've been essentially wanting WWE to book. Like we wanted to see Lesnar versus better guys, like as far as like the smaller guys and the better workers and stuff like that. And this is the blueprint for it. I feel like I wouldn't necessarily agree with you about the better workers part. Like he's been in the ring and had some. Oh, I think James just froze up like live radio. So while I try to get James back on the line. I am going to. We lost him. We will get him back momentarily, but yeah, I really enjoyed the match. I'm glad you guys are listening into One Nation Radio. Make sure you guys check out all the new stuff that's on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. And James, I think we got back on the line because you completely froze up, so I just stopped it. But what were you saying, James?
Where did I leave off at? About
you said you would agree with me.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with you about the choice of pointers for Lesnar. I feel like a lot of it was the match layouts were just not on point. I don't know how you're expecting to have a match with Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry, with the Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar that's laid out in that sort of way, and it was actually going to, work. When Brock Lesnar is out here
he also
flipping over
washed.
Ambulances.
He also looked real washed in that Strowman match.
Yeah. But I think the main thing for me was like I don't know how you have a match where like Braun Strowman every match he's in, he's doing crazy stuff like breaking through barricades, breaking off, like throwing guys into the ring so hard that the top turnbuckle breaks off in their chest, throwing dudes through like screens on up on the ramp, breaking dudes or body slamming dudes through the ramp and through tables. I don't understand how. Hell, beating the hell out of Lesnar in the SummerSlam match where you break him, you basically, power slam him through two tables and they have him carted off. I don't know how you go in there and then just have a match, right?
Right.
Like that was a mistake. Like people were expecting a train wreck and they got just a match. As far as the Joe thing, like I thought it was intriguing at the beginning until like you realize, oh yeah, Brock just gonna like just muscled out that dude at the very end and escaped with an F5 and got him out of there with one F5. Like I felt like that part was disappointing, but. It's been an uneven year for him. Like I feel like he's had two great matches, and one match I thought was good, and another match I thought was really disappointing. But, I think a lot of it comes down to just no one's buying in 2017 a protected finisher. No one's buying that.
Yeah,
especially someone that you've seen that often.
Yeah, man. Shouts out. We got to give a shout out to our logo maker, Mike Fergus, Sir Mike Fergus. Everyone's commenting about the new logo in the comments. So, Nicholas Girl said, "What up, guys? The new logo is more over than Rusev's tweets. Looks great." Simon said they teased Cena retiring to bring him back in 2 months for a nothing match to a throwback of a half-assed version of 2006. I don't remember the 2006 Survivor Series. Was that the deal where it was CM Punk and DX and the Hardy Boys? Was it that one that you're talking about, Simon? I'm not sure. But yeah. What else do we have on that card? We had Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, so let's talk about it. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte came out there, and I said this on Chad's show. Apparently, Alexa Bliss is the world's toughest 5-foot human. Move over Danny DeVito. Move over Joe Pesci. It is now Alexa Bliss's time to run over motherfuckers that are bigger than you. Alexa 1.75, or formerly known as, she came out here and stared Charlotte down and drug her for 80% of the match. James, did you believe this at all?
No, like, and only in like Vince's like mind and world does this actually happen. Because if this was a match with like if these same dimensions, dynamics, or whatever, except both of the combatants have penises instead of breasts and vagina, then that would never happen in a match like that. Never. So, like, that's the thing that always bothers me about the Alexa Bliss thing is like, this is why I say that they, even though they presented at the beginning the Women's Money in the Bank so well, they presented their matches at WrestleMania, the last 2 WrestleManias, very well. Like, they're actually parts of the show and cores of the show and things you need to watch instead of piss breaks. They're still behind it on this thing because, like, if they treated this like a legitimate thing, like they try to do with WWE, do with the men's roster, then Alexa Bliss would be, working, doing all types of tactical smart things instead of being like a chicken shit heel until it's time for her to beat you with her finish.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's killing me about it.
And it works different, like with the dudes sometimes. So you can say, okay, this guy's a submission specialist, so he can slap a move on you. This person's a high flyer, so he can attack the opponent in different ways. Nah, bro, Alexa Bliss just looks you dead in your face and decides to whoop you. Like, she doesn't care if you're a couple inches taller than her or if you're a foot taller than her like Charlotte. You're all going down the same way.
No, it's not even that. It's like she belittles you. She belittles you. Then you whoop her ass all over the place, like leading up to on TV, leading up to the match, and then the match happens, and like either A, she gets her ass kicked throughout the match, or B, she runs roughshod over you, and then cheats at the end after you make your comeback, and she's in danger of losing, and like that's fine, except for the part about the height discrepancy and the weight discrepancy against all these other women, and it'd be one thing if, like, she was basically, now after being on an advantage all of a sudden, someone fires up on her, and she's now, like, tucking tail or whatever else, she's on the ropes and everything, and, out of desperation, she takes somebody's knee out or whatever, and it goes to work on someone's body part or what have you. For the most part, these matches are not like that, and she's also is not a person with a submission finisher at all. Like, I could buy this better if she had a submission finish. I really could. Or if like the way she wins matches would be like if she like did some underhanded thing as like the big thing to actually like turn the table and her to finish somebody off.
Yeah.
If not the case, she just beats me with her finish in the middle most of the time.
And they were redoing like complete sequences in the match, like when they were going for those code reds and. I don't know. Alexa Bliss's matches seem is really structured, and the other women have to kind of work to that level. So Charlotte, I think, did the best she could with it. I really wish this is Charlotte versus Sasha one more time here, but guess not. Charlotte got the win. Can't be mad at that because I think, as we said on this show before, she basically needed the win because she was just crowned champion. She didn't need to be losing. Couple comments from Simon. Back to the Brock stuff. He says, this one finisher crap sounds similar to what Heyman said to Stone Cold during the podcast where he talked about hyping up Mark one Henry. Move. Yes. If he used like a headlock or something like that.
I think it was a chin crank or something like that.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned a chin crank. Like that sounds good and that sounds great, but it's like you don't start that like after someone's been around and on TV and never left and went anywhere. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I saw you literally like you about to go fight a dude, right? That at WrestleMania he's gonna fight a dude that like literally ate 3 of his finishes or whatever without getting pinned.
Yep, that's exactly what Simon said. He was like, but the problem is that Reigns survived 3 F5s at WrestleMania 31. The F5 ain't going to get a super reaction, especially from a guy everyone expects to win.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Simon.
Who did Brock face at SummerSlam last year? I forgot. I can't think of it.
He fought Randy Orton. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Nick. It will be just like that. He said it's going to be like they're pretending the first Brock and Roman Reigns match never happened.
Yeah.
It's also they're also going to pretend that these guys haven't competed against each other in multi-man matches since then, because they were in a triple threat match with him, Dean Ambrose, and Roman, and then also just this past SummerSlam.
That was like the month before. That was like the month before WrestleMania, like the Fastlane 2016, right?
Yep.
And then they had SummerSlam. And you know what's funny about that? In both matches, who took the pin?
Dean.
No. In both matches, Roman took the pin.
Nah, Roman pinned Dean to win the Fastlane match.
Okay,
and
you're
then,
right, I'm tripping. So, but let me phrase that. So, you're absolutely right. I'm wrong on that. But, like, Roman took the pin in that four-way match. It's like, why?
I guess to protect the next month's pay-per-view in Strowman, and then with Joe, it was like, I guess they didn't want to do more residual damage to him.
But then why the very next week or next month you're promoting it on the undercard of that pay-per-view is Cena versus Roman? So why the hell would you pin him?
I guess that was to give him something back. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, you asked me to make sense out of something that don't make sense. Like Meltzer said that on Twitter this week to somebody. But yeah, what else was on the card? Usos in the bar had a extremely fine professional wrestling match. The Usos came out there with the Raw gear on and the jackets. Like, ain't nobody cooler than the Usos right now, bro.
Do you feel like the Usos got screwed?
What do you mean?
Like, they were going to fight Ambrose and Rollins, and instead they got the bar.
Yes. They definitely got a consolation prize there. Yeah, because no one's talking about this match. It's like, oh, okay. And I think it's been the most universally agreed upon match everywhere, from myself to Chad to Meltzer, like 3.5. Like, it was a good, solid match there, and, you know, there was just stuff before it that mattered, and then there was a lot of stuff after it that mattered, or it felt like, at least. But what did you make of the women's match where Asuka was the sole survivor?
It was, it was a part of the show where, like, you look at the show and top to bottom, and you say, for the most part, everybody that needs to win and look impressive on the card except for the main event, like, the mission accomplished, right? So, if you were to say between the Miz and Baron Corbin, who needs to win most out of both of those two? My answer is going to be Corbin, because Corbin is still dead as a doorknob.
Oh yeah, that happened too. I forgot about that match.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're going backwards on the card, but like for me, like Asuka, after what they did with Emma or whatever, it was terrible, and like. You saw her debut pop. You saw when she showed up on TV the next day after she was more or less unimpressive. What her pop sounded like, how much smaller it was, and then the week after that, and it didn't get any better. And then like she comes out at pay-per-view, and then obviously a lot of the takeover crowd doubles up on tickets on the next night's show for pay-per-views. People know and love Asuka, as they rightfully should. But like she kills she kills the Raw team almost single-handedly, and then next time on Raw, lo and behold, what do you know? She's getting better. It's almost as if almost as if they should have never had her do that thing with Emma, like as if they should have held off and saved Asuka as an attraction for the Survivor Series women's match. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they fired Emma because she took more liberties than she should have in that match. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And as far as like Baron Corbin and Miz, I really don't have much to say about it. Whatever.
It wasn't god awful.
Yeah.
It wasn't god awful, which everyone thought it was going to be.
In the opener, The Shield versus The New Day, opinions were split around the internet, especially with Dave Finshaw and I. I thought it was simply a good match. Some folks have called it great. I definitely did not enjoy them wearing those T-shirts because presentation is key, and I felt like that took a lot away from it. Either make them all wear them or make none of them wear them.
You know what's funny about that is how like Finisher said that like this is what you're arguing about or whatever, and I thought to myself, well, yeah. And the reason why I thought about it is because, like, you get, like, is it Raw vs. SmackDown or is it not Raw vs. SmackDown? And if it's Raw vs. SmackDown and, like, even the Shield's going to come out there and do the half and half shirts like how Rollins did at Royal Rumble at the Survivor Series the year before, then Roman needs to come out there on the same thing. Otherwise, let all of them be the Shield and then, like, you know, push your Shield shirts.
Right.
Like, no one's going to buy no half. One, no one's going to buy no half and half shirt. And two, like, you're basically pulling a roll call, like, similar to when they have lumberjack matches, and you see, like, the top stars not being in a lumberjack match, and you can tell who are the geeks and who are the real stars. So when John Cena comes out there with his own shirt, a green shirt instead of a blue SmackDown shirt, you know who the real star is. When AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar don't have to go out there and wrestle in red or blue T-shirts, you know those are the real stars.
Right.
Like
Triple H came out there in the red Triple H shirt.
Yeah.
And Roman didn't have to wear one, and it was just like. It's
that,
like, stop drawing a line for us to notice. Like, stop drawing a line.
Like, one, either you're saying your storyline only the geeks care about your storyline, and or B, I mean, which also means at the same time, like, if only the geeks care about the storyline, then why do we care about the storyline? Because the top people, the real draws, the real stars, they don't give a damn. So why should we? And plus, like, who watches SmackDown? Who watches SmackDown doesn't watch Raw? Who are these people?
Yeah. Raw SmackDown has notoriously had 85% of Raw's audience, so yeah, man. So that really threw me off of it, but I thought they definitely worked hard, and you know, it's been a while since the Shield has been together, and I think that showed. And these guys are above this at this point. I want them to break up because I'm not with this corporate Shield at all. Like, this looks like just a bad money grab and a sacrificial attempt to you know, rehabilitate Roman Reigns even further, and to illustrate how much this is you know, Roman Reigns needs this right now. I'd like to compare him to Braun Strowman. So if they wanted to reunite the Wyatt family right now, right, with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, would you ever fucking do that? Like, do you think Braun Strowman needs this?
No.
Would anyone think Braun Strowman needs this?
No, because Braun Strowman's the biggest star out of all of them.
So,
including Bray Wyatt.
Yes. So, like,
Braun Strowman is busted out of that 4-pack of guys in the same way that, like, The Rock broke out of the Nation Domination. It's like, yeah, you got this one dude, he's in the main event or whatever, and we got this younger dude, and we want to bring him along, and we want to make him look impressive, and we want him to, you know, do certain things, but, you know, at least, like, they broke up the wise before, like, Braun took off like this, because it would have looked real bad with, like, Braun Strowman right now being next to Bray Wyatt, taking order from Bray Wyatt. That would make no sense. It's the Strowman family now at this point.
Yes. I just hope they keep him far away from Braun Strowman and no feud jumps off.
You know that's going to happen eventually. You know that's going to happen eventually. You know they're going to do that.
I brought you in and, you know, whatever.
How you gonna do that, J.R. Ryder? How you gonna father the fathers who fathered? Like,
yes,
it's gonna be ridiculous.
Yes. Speaking of Dipset, you know, Cam and Mace going at it.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I haven't heard either one of them because it's like, you know, what's the point? But
it's actually it's pretty good.
I'm sure it is. It's just, you know, like so. There's so much music that I just have not heard from, like, the last so many years. That it's like, I'm gonna pick up. That's what I'm gonna pick up at right there.
Yeah, jump in.
Like a beat that should have happened like 12 years ago.
Yes, you know, that man finally got the clearance from the Lord to go ahead and strike back. You know, against.
and then, am I wrong on this? Did Cam already released like 2 Mace disses in back-to-back nights?
No, he's put one out.
Okay.
And a lot of people are saying it's 1-0 Mace right now. A lot of people saying that. So, y'all have to check it out for yourself. Let us know who you think is going to come up with that. But let's read a couple comments.
Okay.
So, back to the Alexa thing. Dylan says, Alexa is booked inconsistent to me. Chicken shit heel, but gets 80% of the office, and none of it involves hit and run tactics. Yeah, she pretty much just looks you in the face and drags you, bro. Like, that's pretty much all that happens. And Simon says, okay.
It's funny, like, she's a chicken shit until the bell rings, pretty much.
She'll fight you. you know.
And I understand like a lot of heel matches, like if you're gonna have clean finishes, it is based on you have to get heat on the baby face by the heel beating on you for whatever reason. But like the reason why she takes over and gets advantages in matches, they're never like heel ways, which is like, aside from like, the dreaded turnbuckle match,
of Doom.
the turnbuckle of Doom that happens in like almost every women's match.
That Road Dogg had the nerve to lie to me on Twitter about saying he doesn't know what that is. All right. Watching the Alexa Bliss match.
What pay-per-view was it where, like, I think it was either Great Balls
I think it was No Mercy.
or no. Which one was it?
I think it was No Mercy. Yeah.
Yeah, where, like, half the matches were all the result, like, the finish, like, half the matches, or most of the matches were a result of somebody getting thrown into a turnbuckle head first. And I was like, dude, what is going on? And it was funny because I was watching that with you and Josh and Jeremy, and I had mentioned to you about how, like, so many of the women's matches this year on pay-per-view have ended because someone has been ran into the dreaded turnbuckle of doom, and then like, and then so like there was a run of like 3 out of the next 4 matches were all that, and we start laughing. It's like it's almost like you couldn't unsee it after that.
Yes. Simon said, my disdain for Triple H has multiplied more than Goku's Kaioken after the Survivor Series main event. James damn near spit his drink out. I don't know what that stuff means because I didn't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I guess it's funny. Simon also says, due to such an ego... I'll let you go ahead.
Simon, you got to call in and apologize to me, bro. I almost spit all over his computer. This has been the end of the podcast, been the end of my end of everything, end of days.
Yes, end of days. Like I would have seen this man's screen turn black. Like,
Okay, so explain to you what the Kaioken was. It's like the Kaioken is basically like this fighting technique, and it basically is like a cheat code where it basically like increases your power by the number of folds. So, like, let's say you're at a certain level or whatever. Let's say you're a black belt, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's say you're a black belt in real life. Like, if you go Kaioken times 5, that makes you almost like a 5-degree black belt as far as how good, how strong and powerful you are. Like, it's a cheat, yeah. Like, so that's why I started busting out laughing, because that man basically said his hate for that man has grown exponentially.
Yes. The cup has overrun with hundreds, you know. Simon also said, due to such an egomaniac that he has to inject himself in everything cool and has to beat the fan favorites. Now, Shane O'Mac is no fan favorite of mine, but some people, they dig Shane for whatever reason. I wonder why they won't boo him at this point, but James, you want to jump in.
He's talking about Strowman. He's not talking about no damn Shane. You know that.
Yeah. He also says, why not make a red and blue version of everyone's gear? I think that might be a little expensive, but, you've seen Nakamura came out with the blue. They wasted a rare blue Shinsuke Nakamura for that. I was not impressed with what they did with him.
Balor was wearing all red. It was the first time I ever seen that.
Yeah, that was hard.
I mean, they could have done that, but they like to, they always talk about wins and losses don't matter and so and so, but then they also the real stars, when it's time for the real stars to show up, they don't have to follow the same rules as everyone else, and that's cool, but the line between Finn Balor and having to wear all red and a Raw shirt on, and then Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose getting to wear a half Shield shirt, that's so small. Right now, Finn Balor's more over than both of those two, so it's weird to me. It just is. Same thing with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is more over than both of those dudes right now. He had to wear a Raw shirt.
He did.
Why? Why? Because he wasn't standing next to the Golden Boy teaching them the ropes on how to wrestle in 6-way tag matches for 2 years, 3 years. That's why.
Jeremy says Luke Harper should have been the breakout Wyatt family star. Yes, and now he's a bludgeon brother.
Yeah, Rich, we were saying that before. Weren't we saying that during right around WrestleMania 30? We were saying that.
Yeah, right before that. Like once we started seeing him get in the ring with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and not look like he was being carried, he looked like he would be just fine, So Starrcade was last night. James, you're a big WCW fan. I am a big WCW fan. Starrcade was last night. What did you think? That's right. Never mind. Never mind.
Because it wasn't. Yeah, I didn't think Sheik's wasn't a network special. I don't know what they were doing. Like,
trick question, yes. I like to imagine it is the myth of Starrcade. So you know what this is going to be, right? This is going to be like every other story that you hear in a barbershop. It's going to be more extravagant. It's going to be more, urban legend-ish. They're going to say AJ Styles fought off 50 dudes, like Jinder Mahal, he brought in, all his cousins from India. The Singh brothers, made the call, and Khali came out there, and AJ Styles fought them all off. Just lends itself to a whole bunch of lying and urban legends that went on. Arn Anderson got in the ring, and Spinebuster Dolph Ziggler. I imagine Ziggler loved this. So the funny part was that Arn Anderson was taking pictures next to Bobby Roode after. So it was like, like, I don't know how Rick might have felt about that, because, he's aligning himself with the new version of Rick, apparently. So James looked like he froze up. Hopefully he unfreezes. But more stuff on Starrcade. Shouts out to our homeboy Rob Gatz from SocialSuplex.com. Looks like some of the other results on here. It looks like Charlotte defended the title against Natalya in a steel cage match, and they brought out Ric Flair, which was a nice touch because they, Flair hadn't been seen in that area for, a really long time, and to bring him out at Starrcade, I think you have to have Flair there. It would have been nice to have Harley Race there as well, but I believe Harley Race is in poor health at the moment. Let me lower this thing down because it is too high. But what else did we have? We had a Fatal 4-Way SmackDown Tag Team Title match. The Usos defeated the New Day, the New Day, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Would have liked to see that match, but it looks like it wasn't meant to be. And I almost can't even fault WWE for not putting it on because there's no real financial benefit for it. If you guys have been following along the financials or anything, all the pay-per-views they added this year had no effect on business, and it was I think we got James back on the line. All right, James.
Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with Wi-Fi over here. All of a sudden, my call dropped with you, and then I look at my laptop, and it says I have 2 bars of Wi-Fi signal, and then 5 seconds before I call you right back, it goes right back to normal. I don't know what just happened. My bad. Sorry for technical difficulties.
Yeah, but I kept it rolling. I was saying, it wasn't shown on the network or anything, but I can't really blame WWE for it. It's not. It would have been nice to see it, but this literally would have had no impact on business. It would have just been nice to see as kind of a nostalgia thing. Because if you guys, I was saying, if they've been following the financials and everything, they added all these pay-per-views this year, and it meant absolutely nothing. So it would have just been cool to see, essentially.
Yeah, it's true, but at the same time, it's what did Beast in the East do for the network or for WWE? What did the Beast at Madison Square Garden do for them? What did, for example, the very first Roadblock of 2016, what did that do for the company? This is a house show that y'all put on TV because y'all had a nice little card. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I would say the difference would be they're not penny pinching as hard as they were during all those things. And what they're doing now is trying to cook the books to make them look as good as possible, for investors and their profits and all that stuff.
That's true. And put it on TV and sell it and charge and jump up the ticket price.
Yeah, you that's always worked in the past. Looks like we had Nakamura defeat Corbin in a disqualification for the U.S. title. He did not win the championship, obviously. I wonder if he got thrown over the top rope if we went all the way back to the WCW rules or something like
NWA.
You throw him over the top rope, and there's an automatic disqualification. We have the natural Dustin Rhodes. Yes, the natural Dustin Rhodes, not Goldust. He took on Dash Wilder and defeated him, and it was a really big moment for him because I believe he wrestled on the original Starrcades, and not obviously the 83 one, but when it was 89, 90, 91, something like that. Naomi went over Tamina, and the Bludgeon Brothers, Mike Kanellis, the Clones, and Rusev. Oh, by the way, James, happy Rusev Day. Defeated Breezango, Sin Cara, The Ascension, and Ty Dillinger. Kyle, what's going on, man? I know you were in the building. Let us know what was going on at Starrcade in the comments, or if you want to call in, you can call One Nation Radio on Skype. But I want to get to something else here. Finn Balor. There was a report that came out this week. I don't know where it originated from. I believe it was Dave Meltzer.
It was Meltzer on the night after review of Survivor Series where he brought this up. Was it Raw?
Yeah, it was after Monday Night Raw.
Okay, so the review of Raw, so that Monday, that Tuesday night show, or Tuesday morning show. So
with 9 weeks of TV remaining before the Royal Rumble, it was decided that Finn Balor is not over enough to be able to challenge Brock Lesnar.
Well, actually, no. It was decided Monday before the show, so they had
Correct.
10 weeks to do it. Actually.
Oh, okay.
They had 10 shows.
They had 10 shows
Not 9,
to do it.
10.
So it was decided that Finn Balor would not be over enough for his position. So what did he think Jinder Mahal was? When they put the WWE Championship on him.
Not even that.
Rules is different.
What were they thinking? No, not even that. What were they thinking when originally the match was set to be Jinder versus Brock, and they looked like, oh my God, no one gives a flying fuck about this match. Like y'all didn't realize y'all champion wasn't over enough that y'all had to get the belt off him, and then now someone that is Finn Balor's level, which is what Finn Balor's at worst, at the very worst, what number would you say Finn Balor would be as far as the male single wrestlers on Raw right now?
I would say 3.
If you're 3, you're okay. So that would be behind what, Roman Reigns and who else?
Brock and Braun.
Okay.
For baby faces.
Not even baby. I'm just saying the entire brand. So.
I think him and Samoa Joe are on the same level at least.
What I'm saying is I agree with you. I think it's I feel like he's one of the guys that. He's absolutely a main eventer on the brand. So if you're a main eventer on the brand, you can get a title shot.
Right.
It don't mean you gotta win.
Right. I don't understand. What I don't know if they're scared this won't sell tickets or whatever when they've been building it up. So James, I know you wrote something that pretty much chronicled Finn Balor's year and how they've decided to use him since his injury, which he's never ever approached being near the same level from WWE, and it feels like it's been held against him that he was hurt. Can you explain, how would one expect Finn Balor to be over at this point with all this stuff that happened to him?
I don't know, man. I'm pulling up and looking at it right now, but it's been a real. I think after you read it, you were saying that this company has failed him, and
yes,
most of in the most situations when this happens with guys, it generally is the case where guys are the ones that are getting let down because, in all honesty, it's hard to manage this many people. There's that's a lot of balls in the air, a lot of things you have to juggle. But at the same time, it's this is somebody that is at the top of your list as far as focus. You might not want to fuck this guy up because he's so much older than he actually looks and has been on TV. So you only have a certain amount of time where you can reasonably expect that at his athletic peak he can produce at a certain level. Not everybody's going to be AJ Styles where they have the best years of their career when they're 38 and older. You know what I'm saying? That's not a realistic expectation.
Right.
I'm still scrolling trying to find this thing.
Yeah, man. But Balor is just. Alrighty, excuse the technical difficulties. We are back. James, did you find the list of all the things that has happened to Finn Balor while they expect him to remain over?
Just did. All right, so the status after I heard about the thing about them saying they don't think they can rehabilitate him based off of what happened with Kane and everything, like, in 10 weeks of TV, I was just like, are you kidding me? So I was just off the top of my head, started thinking about, like, where he's been and what he's done over the, the year or more or less after WrestleMania since he's been back. And I wrote it out as such. Put a dude in a 5-way for his returning pay-per-view match and choke him out, even though there's 3 other guys that could have been beaten. Put the same dude in a feud with a new lower mid-tier guy that's mediocre in the ring.
Get him.
Put the same dude in a feud with the stellest guy in the entire company and have them feud over paint.
Get him.
Tease that the same dude's feud over paint is finished, and then have the still guy screw him out of a contention for a title.
Get him.
Give the same dude the biggest victory of his career on pay-per-view against the company's best wrestler.
Get him.
Follow that up by squashing the same dude on the very next night with a stale over 20-year returning veteran.
Get him.
Beat up the same dude on the very next week with the same stale over 20-year returning veteran.
Get him.
Eliminate the same dude like a mid-carder in a bad main event Survivor Series match.
Get him.
And that equals Finn Balor is no longer in the Universal title match against Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble because it was decided Monday before Raw that he wasn't over enough to be rehabilitated in the 10 weeks of television before the Rumble. Yeah, and my reaction was Idris Elba flipping over a table in frustration, in anger. Yeah, I just thought like they screwed this dude, and it's kind of funny because I think our inaugural episode of One Nation Live, we talked about this. Like
I believe we did.
Yeah, we did. Like it came out in an argument when me and Rance had got into it about like the Brock Lesnar thing as far as like, but it was something that came up besides point. But like it basically came to like, dude, they've screwed this up. Like, and they do pick and choose who they want to punish or who they give up on or whatever else based off of who gets hurt and who doesn't, and if they like you or not. If, like, they pretty much have punished Brock, they pretty much have more or less punished this dude for having the audacity of having his shoulder pop with the socket during a title match and then wrestling through the match. Whereas, like, other guys get shot after shot after shot, even though they keep blowing
all the cash.
Yeah, like, even at crucial moments of their career, like, you're the top. We're going to make you the top guy in this company. We're going to give you the belt. Please do not, like, after 2 months or 3 months into it, please don't like get popped for PEDs. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're going to put together the group you debuted in as a way to like get you cheered to help build you on the way and rehabilitate you because we beat you like a drum the months prior after WrestleMania where you main evented. And we're going to main event you another WrestleMania. Please don't get sick. It happened. You just got the boxing. You are fresh. And we're going to build you in and fast track you in 7 months to put you in the main event of WrestleMania and win the title. And you just now have been a singles wrestler for the first time ever, and you were trying to build you a character and push you towards that. Can you please not have rupture a hernia or catch a hernia? Like, this keeps happening to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns keeps getting at bats. Like, let other guys get at bats when they get hurt. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Especially when it's someone like Finn that they actually, did give a shit about. Like, they gave him one of the best, like, start-out pushes of all time. And then, like, he got hurt, and then they were just like, we're off that.
Yeah, we'll never fuck that, do that shit again. Like,
it's so weird.
And I think the only person that could have thrived in that situation, like Daniel Bryan, there's probably about the only person that could have overcame all this shit. And if you're not Daniel Bryan, that's a hell of a standard to live up to. Like, yeah. Sorry, everybody's not the same. And Daniel Bryan's booking, a few years ago, pretty much gave WWE the license to do whatever they want, with these baby faces, and then they wonder why, it ain't popping with them in these streets. But next subject, Finn Balor ain't over. Everybody remember that. And Balor's been being real petty on Twitter and IG, which has been lovely to see. He's been tweeting polls. He's been coming up with little puns and just doing everything he can. He's a master user of the internet. So We had some new women debut this week. There were jump zones galore. On Monday Night Raw, Paige returned, and she didn't come alone. She came with Mandy Rose and also Sonya Deville, who's doing an MMA gimmick. Mandy Rose was the runner-up on Tough Enough. Been in NXT, but not really featured on the television as much. They've kind of kept her hidden away on some Braun Strowman shit. But they came out there and whooped the Raw woman. And then on SmackDown, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan made their debut, and they came out there and whooped folks. And these jump zones were pretty entertaining, I have to say. What did you make of this deal with the jump zones? And then also, like, you know, did it look really similar to you, or am I tripping?
It was different. Like, ultimately, when you have three women show up and they all, like, all three of them, like two of the like each pair have like matching hair color. Like it's gonna you know kind of stand out, right?
All the memes were made.
Like that's gonna stand out. Like the way they went about it is different. Like, you know, they broke out in the middle of a on the Raw side. They broke up basically at the middle of a contendership match, right?
Yeah.
They broke up a multi-woman contendership match, and they beat the hell out of all the women. And then they went in the back and then they slapped Alexa Bliss's skin and whooped her black ass.
Yes.
So on SmackDown, they pretty much just showed up, and you know, at first it looked like they were just taking out all the baby faces, but then like they gave they broke up that title match and they gave Natalya some of that too.
Yes.
So I felt like, if you ask me who did a better job, I think the SmackDown side did a better job. Like the beatdown they did on Becky Lynch, the way Becky Lynch sold her ribs in the door was fantastic. And like it looked like they really put a beatdown on those women. Like especially in Naomi too. Like I felt bad for those two. As far as like who I'm more interested in seeing, it's still the Raw side, because like it's Paige, and Paige is a star regardless of, you know, how long she's been on TV or whatever else. Like she was she was in an era of TV where like there were only three women that mattered on TV for WWE, and she was one of those three when it was just AJ, Nikki, and her. So like she has star power that those other five just do not have, and there's a reason why they put her on Raw.
Yes. And also, our girl Mandy Rose is finally on TV, like Jeremy's saying in the comments. Very high on Mandy Rose. She might be a superstar. We don't know. We'll see. She's definitely a good athlete. So let's see if the wrestling like kind of came through. She's only been at it for a couple years. Yeah,
I think. I mean, it was interesting to listen to the Thursday or Thursday episode of Observer, and then hear Meltzer talk about Sarah Logan and say that like she's a good worker, because like, and she's understated or whatever, and like you'll probably figure out how good she is later on. It's interesting because we just for those that don't know, everybody that has a podcast on this or everybody that will have a podcast soon, like the 4 podcasts on the Social Suplex podcast network, we basically did like a draft the other day, basically where the 4 podcasts basically got to draft in snake form, like almost like a fantasy draft. 10 male singles acts from all over the country, all over the world, any promotion. Same for 5 women, same for 5 tag teams. And I wrote out a big board list for like tag teams, or mostly just singles men and singles women. And Sarah Logan made my list. It was somewhere in the top 20-ish range, because she only had one match on the Mae Young Classic, but she did enough in that match with Mia Yim to make me know, like, oh yeah, she's more than competent. She's in all the right places. Her matches looked really good. Her shit looked good. She sold well. Like, I thought, like, oh yeah, this is somebody that, like, she's gonna. It's almost like Santana Garrett in the first round where she lost. Like, oh yeah, she lost, but those are people that like you just watch them in one match, you can tell like
they know what they're doing.
Really good,
right?
Yeah, the person's really good.
Like everybody couldn't win.
Yeah, and then you can look around and see her like when she was doing a crazy gimmick on the Indies, is like, okay, this is a person that's really good in the ring. So I think she might be like the Luke Harper of this group.
I thought the same thing.
Like she's gonna be someone that, like, yeah, they don't think she can talk or whatever else, but like they put her in the ring enough, like she might mess around and like show herself to be really competent, and then they might give her some responsibility after that. We'll see.
Right. Ben has a comment on her, and what up to Ben, who will be making his debut on January 20th, I believe, in Tampa at the what was the name? Text me the name of it, Ben, so we can plug it a little bit. And we definitely want to get you on the show to build up that appearance that you're going to be making. We will be cheering loud for Ben Chambers. He says Sarah Logan is crazy Mary Dobson. She's actually really good. She's a hard hitter and excellent all around worker. She wrestled Jimmy Havoc in a hardcore match. Kyle also submitted a comment about Starrcade. He was actually in attendance. Let me find it here, because this thing is acting like I can't click the see more button. Okay, here we go. It says Starrcade was a fun night. It wasn't a sellout, but it was a large crowd, and they were hot for most of the night. A lot of the nostalgia moments and vignettes appeared throughout the show. The Dustin Rhodes appearance was a great moment. Biggest pops went to AJ, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke, and Charlotte. Match of the night was probably the main event. The finish of the match saw AJ climbing the cage while Jinder crawled out the door, and the crowd was red hot cheering for AJ to beat him to the floor. Despite it being for all the wrong reasons, Jinder has built some legit heat for himself with the crowds. Appreciate that report, Kyle, from the Starrcade, and I think you said you took some pictures. If so, post them up in the group. We definitely want to see them. Yeah, Ben, he said it's at the Tampa PAL, and thanks for the shout. No problem, man. We're gonna be there definitely, man. Cause you actually had the heart to go get into business, like, and we just sitting here talking about it. Yeah, man. But I'm a little worried. I hope there's a lot of women debut at once, and as we've seen, if they want to get everyone over, it usually doesn't work out like well, and they kind of got to focus one at a time. So hopefully it's a situation where they each get to show what they can do. I hear Ruby Riot's a really good talker. Liv Morgan, she's definitely, her and Carmella definitely got to settle it in these streets, because I don't know, who's ripping who off, and, also, who they both ripping off. I'm not really sure, who's going to out-appropriate each other, but, it's definitely going to be, fun to see.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, from what I've seen of Liv Morgan, why the hell did she get brought up? Were they really that set on having two blondes at a time being put up and brought up to the new roster?
I think they really wanted some younger looking chicks, personally. Like, they want to make sure they can have it start replacing the ones that are in their 30s. There's quite a few of them. So, but one other thing happened.
Wait, I got a question. Why are we trying to replace these women in their 30s when there's all these dudes in their 40s that are out here main eventing?
Because it ain't fair.
Aren't both of the champions right now in the company on both brands, both 40 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't a main eventer in WrestleMania last year 53 years old? Or this year, I mean?
He was up there with the red light, I can tell you that. Jeremy says, do you think it could work if this is one faction trying to take over both shows? That's what I'm hoping for. I hope it's like a widespread alliance, like that's kind of infiltrating both of the brands, and maybe there's some larger overarching story, or else it just looks lazy to me.
Wait, so what is it? Is it like the alliance to destroy the horsewomen? Is that what it is?
Yes, the alliance to destroy the horsewomen. Oh my gosh. Kyle says the iconic duo should have been called up. Now, a lot of people have been saying this. They wanted Peyton Royce and they wanted Billie Kay in this spot that these folks have gotten. Personally, I don't think it really matters, because those two, like, I think they can be bigger stars than anyone that got like called up except Mandy Rose.
They can't be bigger stars than Paige.
Huh?
They can't be bigger stars than Paige.
Well, Paige wasn't a call up. Like, she was just like a re-debut.
Right. Okay,
so
okay. She's been gone so damn long, it almost feels like it's starting all over again.
So like
it's almost like when The Rock had to start from the bottom and had to take
the Brooklyn Brawler. Yes. So like I kind of do it. They kind of have their own like thing built in, and for them to have to kind of get lumped in with whatever they're doing here, it might not work in their advantage because maybe they have star potential outside of that, and you know someone got to be in NXT. So and if they're good enough to already be wrestling on takeovers. You know, you got to keep them TakeOver strong because, you know, that is a brand that is built for excellence and it needs, like, some type of, like, you know, draws there. But Roman Reigns won the Intercontinental Championship from The Miz this week. I just want to say thank you to the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, The Miz, for his stellar run over this year and last year as he goes away to make the Marine 6, as he left the title in the main event of Monday Night Raw to Roman Reigns. This guy, The Miz, has just been excellent ever since, you know, he ripped Daniel Bryan in half live on the WWE Network. He's definitely had an awesome feud with Dolph Ziggler. He's elevated the Intercontinental title to levels we haven't seen in ages. He has the matches. He has the moments. He has so much to give to the business. At an advancing age, he's still getting better. James, Roman Reigns is now the Intercontinental Champion. How do we, like, why? Why?
Because they wanted to elevate the prestige of the belt to where they said Miz actually puts it to, where he claims he puts it to. So, like, mission accomplished. Like, remember, after WrestleMania 31, when, you know, the whole idea was, all right, John Cena, you're U.S. champion. Daniel Bryan, you're Intercontinental champion. Roman Reigns, you're now the WWE World Heavyweight champion. I thought that was great. Like, if they're your top three guys in your business, let all three of them be the top three guys in your belt. Let them all have belts. Let them all go out there and fight in their own feuds, and let them go out there and have a prize and make their matches, you know, mean even more. We always talk about, like, people say that, you know, the belt's either a prop or is the person that makes the belt. Well, you can do a lot worse than Roman Reigns as your Intercontinental Champion. A whole hell of a lot worse. And that's just about, you know, 98% of the entire roster. So, for me, I thought, why not? Like, if Miz ever gets it back from him or whatever else, then the belt will be in a better spot than when Miz has it. And it's just like, it's almost like the Dean Ambrose situation where, like, lately anyway, he's not actually defending it. He just has it on his shoulder to talk shit as a device to talk shit with.
Now,
so,
I think it would have been better served.
Well, hold on, let me finish. Well, if that's only right now, recently, if that's all it's been used for lately, then like it could make better use right now.
Now, I only say this because we saw what Roman did with the U.S. title last year, and it just like looked like one of those props for him. Yes, all belts are props. Insert your jokes here. But the deal with it is I felt like this could be much better utilized on like Finn Balor right now or Samoa Joe. Like those guys could be in a huge Intercontinental title feud right now or something like that. It's like they are putting this belt on this guy who's already like kind of like past that point. This should have been what happened in the summer of 2014. Put him with the Intercontinental title then, but their problem was we don't want to beat this guy. So they just shoot him up to the stars without realizing like building that insurance and like toughen him up a little bit. It's like give him a loss. Like what are you afraid of? If you think he's such a star, beat him. What are you afraid of?
I think the thing with your point about like this should have been better use of Finn Balor was the other point, and that's the reason why like I wrote that on the list as far as like the things the missteps they've made with Finn Balor over the time was, you know, he was done and he beat Bray without paint, he beat Bray with paint, he's in a match for contendership for the IC title, and then Bray goes out there and does another Bray thing, which is always I'm in a feud with somebody. Let me screw them out of something. Let me screw them out of a match that people care about and ruin the match. So that happened, and like that would have been a perfect spot right then at that point to have put Finn Balor in a match with in a feud with Miz, and they could have done that, and then he'd be sitting pretty as Intercontinental Champion right now. Like we could have got Finn Balor versus versus Baron Corbin as opposed to Miz versus Baron Corbin. That's what we could have got. but no.
Let's go through some of these comments. Dylan says Dean did it first. Was he first or was it Seth? Because Seth also did it too. So, actually, no. Seth was never Intercontinental Champion.
No.
I take that back.
No, Dean did it first.
Dean did it first.
Once he won the title. Dean was when he won the title last year. That's when he became a
Grand Slam
winner. Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Coffin says,
remember that man was the U.S. champion without having defended the belt for a year. Almost.
Yes. Dan says Savage is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. We had a passionate debate at work the other day about.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? When you talk about Miz the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, like I understand he has a bunch of title reigns and he's doing a lot of great work right now.
He's also got the
great work in
days.
the past or whatever. While not necessarily being the best worker in the world, but at the same time, for me, I think it as Miz is a compiler. Miz isn't his greatness isn't in the fact that he is a person that you look at and say who had the best years while holding the belt of all time here. He is a person where it's you look at the totality of his career and the fact that he achieved at a certain level. So for me, when you say he's the greatest Intercontinental champion, I sat there and thought to myself, dude, do you remember that The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin fought over that belt at the end of 1997? Are you serious right now trying to tell me that Miz is the best Intercontinental champion of all time?
Yes.
When you have The Rock and Austin?
Yes.
Get out of my face with this.
Yes.
No, you're wrong.
Yes.
No.
What did they do with it? They had 1 5-minute match. They had 1 5-minute match that wasn't the main event.
Okay, fine. How about SummerSlam 1998 with Rock versus Triple H? You're never gonna convince me that he's the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time. And that's not even including Bret Hart or Mr. Perfect or Macho Man or Steamboat. I'm just never gonna put
Ricky Steamboat held the belt for 3 months.
And you wanna know why? And you also another thing about that, even the company doesn't even respect him like that. That's the reason that started the whole entire thing with talking smack with Daniel Bryan.
And he rose to the occasion.
I don't respect him.
And he rose to the occasion. He can do everything, bro.
Okay, I got a question, bro. Is Miz a draw?
Yes.
He's a main event draw.
Yes.
A main event draw.
Yes.
Not a guy okay.
You can put the belt on Miz right now.
You're lying. Move along.
All right. You can put the belt on Miz right now.
You're lying.
Jinder Mahal wore his belt the whole year. That should have been the Miz's belt the whole time. Come on, man.
That's so. You know you're lying right now.
I'm not lying, bro. Miz is that dude.
2017. Actually, ever. Not even in 2017. Ever.
What? What was the question?
He's a main event draw.
Yes.
No, he's not.
All right.
Based on what?
All right.
You see any Miz shirts in these streets?
Miz don't need to sell merch. He's a heel.
He don't need to sell merch. He's a heel.
He's a heel. He wears suits. Do you ever see Miz wearing a shirt?
Hey, you know who else is heels?
Who?
The fucking Bullet Club. What are you talking about?
Bullet Club ain't heels, bro. We love the Bullet Club. We love the Bullet Club in these streets.
Oh my God, Rich, are you kidding me right now with this?
We love the Bullet Club in these streets. The Miz will get his belt back one day. He will break the reigns. He's close to the days, and he has the matches, the moments. And when we're looking back on this, the Miz will go down as the guy who defined this belt for this entire decade. Case closed. Kyle says maybe when he's done back.
What does that have to do with drawing money, as we said? What does that have to do with being
ain't gotta draw no more. It's a WWE network.
You're saying he's the best of his generation. You didn't say that's not you saying he's the best. Also, another thing about that. Do you really think he's better than Jericho?
Yes.
Okay.
What did Jericho do with the Intercontinental title but win it a bunch of times?
You say so, dude. You say so.
Telling you.
You're saying that you're saying that you're not acting like 2013 Miz when he was a babyface wasn't a shitty Intercontinental champion. He's won it a bunch of times, had a bunch of cracks at the bat at that belt.
From 2014 on,
I don't see how that's any bit different than Jericho having a bunch of cracks at the bat. He didn't necessarily knock out the part every single time either.
From 2014 on, Miz has been consistently excellent with this. From 2014 on, you can start it at that SummerSlam where he won it from Dolph Ziggler. Go from there and then holla at me. There's literally a collection on the network right now dedicated to his feud last year, or since then, with Ziggler.
Dude, I'm sorry.
That man saved Dolph Ziggler's life last year.
I can only think of Miz's run right now as from the brand split to now. I can't think of 2015 or 16 because hell, what was he doing at WrestleMania 2015? Was he in that ladder match?
I think he was. Let's get into some of these comments. Kyle says, by the time he's done filming, yeah. Looks like you froze.
He just went away.
Okay.
Okay, so
got you back.
So I'm saying, like, what was he doing at WrestleMania 31? Was he in that ladder match?
He may have been in a movie at that time. I'm not sure. I have to look it up. Somebody look it up for us. Like, was Miz in that 7-man Intercontinental title match? I think he was. Kyle says, by the time he's done filming, Maurice might be ready to come back with him. Yes, she might be. She might be ready to come back. Simon says, problem is we've been here before. Mid-card Roman Reigns hasn't worked since 2015. Did it even work then? Like he had to fight Bray Wyatt the whole summer.
When I think of main event, I think of, all right, what are the top 2 or 3 matches on a card as far as like those are cards what they sold to push the match or push the card. So like, just because you're not fighting Brock Lesnar does not mean you're not a main eventer. Like, so basically what I mean is like Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Finn Balor, like those 5 guys are all main eventers.
Right.
It just you can't put 5 guys in main event at the same time. Like
unless it's this year where they put them all in the main event. Like
yeah, except when they throw in 5 guys, 4 or 5 guys, yes. But like, so when I say with that whole thing about like, is Miz a main eventer? I'm like, is he actually on the level of those guys I just mentioned? No, he's not. Like, he's below that. He's a mid card guy, and it's and you know, that's what people say. It's a mid card belt. But the thing is, you don't have to make that a mid card belt unless that's something you want to do. Like, you can make Macho Man your Intercontinental Champion. You can make Bret Hart your Intercontinental Champion. You can make Shawn Michaels your Intercontinental Champion. You can make The Rock your Intercontinental Champion. Austin your Intercontinental Champion. You can do that. Like, you can make Daniel Bryan your Intercontinental Champion. They decided over the last few years, let's give it to Miz and Dolph Ziggler a bunch of times.
And what they done with it is elevate folks, elevate each other, and put it back to, you know, to being meaningful. Let's see.
They made it meaningful for the mid card, and that's also a lot. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact it's a brand split. If there's not a brand split, I don't think this is even happening. Like, it's never the number 2 feud. It's almost never the number 2 feud on pay-per-view. It's just almost never. It just almost never is.
Bad booking. Simon says, let's not even talk about the rumored Ultimate Warrior Hogan match WWE might be heading towards for a passing of the torch. Yes, Roman Reigns going to be looking like the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania. Holding up the Intercontinental title and the World Belt. Dylan said, Rich, remember wins and losses don't matter. Let's see. Simon says, it's scary to how close next year looks to 2015 already.
Yeah.
Dylan says, unless it's Roman, because double standards. Samuel Holland says, what about Roman as IC champ? I think we just like kind of touched on that a little bit. I mean, I think he's going to run like an open challenge thing. He mentioned that in his in a Backstage.com interview. So hopefully he gets to wrestle a wide variety of guys. And when I say wide variety, I mean wide, because I saw something like on Twitter where Cedric Alexander said, you know, did that mean anybody at that open challenge? So let Cedric Alexander answer Roman Reigns next week and let him have like a bunch of these great matches. Like, they can really, I think they can get Roman going if they do something like that, where it's like, okay, you take him away from like Samoa Joe answering the open challenge, like, and it looks like he's putting people on essentially. Like, I think people will appreciate that.
Well, it depends. Like, when it comes to the Cena situation, it actually seemed like him being in the matches with, or people giving a wide variety of people matches or whatever, it seemed like he was actually giving them the opportunity to, you know, get their shine on. Whereas with Roman, it's basically the same thing, but a lot of this comes down to how people are going to take it. And a lot of people are going to take it as he's going to bury the entire roster on the way to getting the belt from Brock Lesnar, and then he'll be untouchable. So, and I'm not saying, and just for the record, like I'm not saying I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying that's even a smart assessment. But like that's how a lot of people are going to take it because people do not like that dude. And since so many people don't like that dude, I don't understand why you bothered like giving that dude more accolades when like one, he's already got pretty much every fan as a babyface he's going to already get. So like, what's the point now? Like, and also you throw in the fact that you know, like if he were to turn heel right now, this be a real nice spot for him. He get to beat the hell out of everybody on the roster, cheat or whatever else. Like people don't want to see him win, so then like him being that hot of a heel, like people would really get hot to see him potentially lose the belt. But they're taking it as like, oh, he's a babyface, and they don't ever see anything wrong with it. And then you have people lie to themselves and tell themselves, oh, he's a tweener. Okay.
That man, he's just between these boos. So, Jeremy says there's no heels and faces, just say he's a great pal. And he said, Simon says the Miz was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle on the pre-show that year. That was the year they had that Miz and Mizdow joint where they were the tag team champions the whole time.
That's right. Were they the tag team champions?
They were. I think they were at that time. No. Not at the Royal Rumble. They lost them a couple weeks before that that WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because there was a fatal 4-way.
Yeah, on the pre-show, that was awesome.
Yeah. Like
Naomi was out here. Who did Naomi beat up? Naomi beat up somebody, and so did Natalya.
El Torito?
El Torito was involved in that too. He beat up somebody too.
I'm not sure. But yeah, man, I think that might be, we can leave it there for the evening. But yeah, man, thanks for doing the show with me today, James. Elsewhere on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, you guys can check out the SMC podcast as well as the Ricky and Clive show. And coming soon, the New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast that we will be adding is Jeremy Donovan and Young Boy Josh Smith. They will be debuting Keeping It Strong Style soon. And I definitely will make a run-in on that show at some point. But yeah, anything else you want to let the people know about, James?
Yeah, well, do you want to talk about do our 15 minutes on the draft now, or do you want to do it some other time?
We can do that. We can record that separately from this because I think we have to send that in to Rance, and he's going to put everything together. But yeah. That's gonna wrap it up. I'm also was recently approved as a main page Lords of Pain writer, so I'll be writing there as well as Social Suplex. I haven't figured out how I'm going to balance it all yet, but best believe Mohit is coming at you in these streets with Lattice Lariat and other series that we're going to be doing. Also, Dave Finishow, like we're both going to be contributing pieces to his Royal Rumble series. That you will be seeing unveiled slowly. I believe the first column dropped last week. Also, tonight one is going up. So when ours come out, we will let you know. But make sure you guys stay locked in. Appreciate all the comments and everybody that's checked in with the live show. And that's going to wrap it up. Peace.
Later.